Jump, 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 jump! Sorry. This is Comics Covered for the week of February 14th.
That didn't make any sense.
What do you mean? Doug just told me to jump in whenever I wanted, so I jumped, and I jumped.
And you did it in a nice, like, narrative fashion, like everyone wants from there.
How would it be put into comics? Are we trying to do that?
Or more like, what would it be as, like, descriptive audio commentary on TV or movies? Have you ever accidentally watched something with descriptive audio?
That's a thing? What is that?
Yeah,
is that closed captions?
It's for the blind.
Oh.
It's basically, it adds, like, narration.
Like, Johnny is going over to the counter right now. He's getting a glass of water.
Yeah.
Dang. I would love to watch, like, an R-rated movie and, like, have it be like this. Like, watch a Saw movie with descriptive audio.
Oh, boy.
He's trying to rip himself from his seat that he's super glued to, but his skin is coming out.
The whole time. They're just like, oh, God. Oh.
I love it. Oh, God. Starting it off with comics. I love it. Okay, here we go. February 14th. It's February 14th. We all know what that means, but we're not going to reference that.
But
okay, it's 3 days. Whatever. It's episode 14 as well, though, which is kind of cool, right?
Is it?
That might never happen again, where the date is the same as
we're definitely never going to do another episode 14. So I guess that is a once in our podcast number.
In any case, once in our podcast. Okay, here on Comics Covered, we talk about the comic books. We talk about the world around them as well. The comics industry, movies, TV games. We also will talk spoilers, and our trademark sound will precede the mentioned spoilers. Doug, can you do that?
Well, we're not to that yet. I don't want to jump the gun
confuse people. Okay, you don't want to jump in?
I don't want to jump on it.
In any case, furthermore, we do not swear, goddammit.
Oh, gee. Well, you misled them. Now someone was very startled by that.
We do swear, but not like a lot. We're not like crazy. We just do it casually. I'm Jack. I'm a large fish when it comes to comics, which means that I haven't been reading it all my life, you know?
You're a large fish.
And when it comes to comics, I'm here with my co-host, Doug. Doug, you've never heard that phrase before? Jeez.
That's not a real phrase.
I'm here with my co-host, Doug, and he knows something I don't know.
I'm Doug, and as you've written on the script here for me to say, it says, I'm Doug, I've eaten every kind of blueberry.
Every kind. Which,
while true, is maybe not relevant. I do know a character that you might not know, and you might have seen I did a social media post about this week, so I'm hoping you don't actually know who this is after that.
Yeah, we just talked about how you were asking me.
He did show up in a book this week. But the character is Egg Foo.
Young.
No, just Egg Foo.
Egg Foo Young.
Well, no.
Isn't that a Chinese dish?
It is.
So I have a clue here, I think. I'm gonna logic this out like I did, what was Matter Eater Lad? What was last week, actually?
The name is just so on the nose.
Was that last week, or was there one last week that...
I don't remember.
Darn it. Okay, I forgot. Okay, Egg Foo. Okay. It was in a book you said. What did we read mostly? By chance.
Okay, can you guess, since knowing it's one of our books this week, can you remember or guess which book it was in?
I know, that's what I'm looking at my books right now, and I'm trying to... Okay, it's not Image. Like, chances are it's not the Image one. It's not that one. They wouldn't have a character like that. Because we read The Dark Knights, and I didn't know, like, anything that was going on that whole time, my guess is he would have shown up there. So it's DC.
Okay. So, it is DC, and it is from Dark Knights Rising, The Wild Hunt.
Okay, good.
He appeared in that this week.
Okay, don't go into anything else. Origin story, okay. Remember? Okay. Egg Foo, he is a, he's gotta be it's gotta be some analog of a Chinese man or something, some racist thing, because they don't name it that without, thinking of that. Let's see here. Egg Foo, he was Chinese space warrior. Like, he was kind of from, like, ancient China, but had like a bunch of technological advancements, and then he like went to space and started conquering shit, and then he came to a planet that was made of like it was a hard-boiled egg, and he copulated there, and that made his clone, which became Egg Foo.
Wow. All right. Egg Foo is okay, so there's kind of two levels to this one. All right.
Oh.
So I'm going to explain the character very briefly as he originally appeared. I'm just going to send you a little image here of.
Okay. Let's see the image.
This will play very good on an audio podcast. Anyone listening to this at some point, if you don't know who Egg Foo is, please just Google Egg Foo, and you'll notice the image I'm about to send to Jack here.
This is like the first thing that comes up on.
It's one of the one of the first images.
That's racist.
It is the first image if you type in DC Egg Foo. It's very racist.
Wow. He is like literally a giant egg.
He is a giant egg with an incredibly racist stereotype image of an Asian man with a big Fu Manchu mustache.
I can't zoom in enough to get the.
He speaks. They swap all his R's for L's.
Oh no!
I've got a panel here where he says he's talking about the Americans, and they'll be it'll be very soon. It's real racist.
That is awesome.
So he's he was a Wonder Woman villain. And
why specifically Wonder Woman? That's insane.
This was in what year would that have been? It might have been during
World War II.
Yeah, I think it was okay, it was way after, but so 1965, so not really an excuse there. Not really an excuse there at all. I mean, it's not excusable regardless, but
it's explainable.
It would have at least made more sense. Yeah, so he was a giant egg with a Fu Manchu mustache, horrible Asian stereotype, and kind of, for obvious reasons, fell into obscurity and was never used again.
No.
So then, in DC's 52, written by Grant Morrison and Jeff Johns and Mark Waid and a bunch of people. That was their weekly series that I've been reading. They kind of revamped him. As I will send you an image of what Egg Foo looks like now.
Okay. Is he like not giant anymore?
He's big. He's not giant. So he's still a large yellow egg.
He lost the racist face, though.
He does not have a racist face.
Was the idea that he got cracked at some point?
I think that's just how he looks. Like, I don't think he's been cracked. Like, they basically kind of, like, retcon out the original Egg Foo. Also, they don't refer to him as Egg Foo. It's like the, like, secret name that people call him behind his back, and he gets very angry if anyone calls him that.
What's he supposed to be called?
His name is Shang Su.
Oh.
And they did retain it's a weird thing. Because in some respects, like, why would you keep that character around? Like, is that a good idea to, like, on the one hand, yes, like, it's, I guess, good that they kind of got rid of the Asian stereotype nature of the character, but also, like, maybe just leave him? But
just come up with a different
if you
character.
can divorce him from the original, really racist stereotype version of this character, this character is really fun. He's a giant yellow egg with this very cracked face, and he is in a robot. He's in a robot suit with like robot legs, and he is a mad scientist.
I have him here. I see him now in the Dark Knight. I was just kind of like...
So, we'll talk about that more in a few minutes when we talk about The Wild Hunt. But okay. I was very excited because I haven't seen Egg Foo in a number of years. Apparently, he did return in some other issues fairly recently, other than this, but I wasn't reading them, and I was pretty pumped to see Egg Foo back. I like Egg Foo.
Flabbergasted. Wonderful.
Flabbergasted. Wonderful. Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, Doug, tell me about your week. How's your week? What's up?
My week was pretty okay. Yeah. I mean, really, the big thing was seeing Black Panther. So, I mean, that was the most exciting part of my week. Yeah, and you saw that Lil Jon music in it, right? I was actually very surprised at the soundtrack to that movie. Again, we're going to talk about Black Panther in a minute, but like we talked about how the Kendrick Lamar made some of the soundtrack, and I was surprised at there wasn't actually a whole lot of it.
There wasn't.
As far as I could tell.
Well, they used it. Okay. Let's just go into it. You know, my week was good too. I saw Black Panther on Thursday. So, okay, let's give the spoiler sound.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Black Panther right now. Okay.
We're going to get that out of the way. That's the big thing that happened this week. We are going to talk spoilers about Black Panther. So, Jack, you're the master here. Thank you. That sounded like a nice little, dove cooing this time.
It was a dovetail.
Oh, we dovetailed right into it. Black Panther.
Okay, spoilers. Black Panther, they used the soundtrack. One of my favorite parts where they used it was in the casino scene. They used it when they were entering. And I've always liked the idea of making music for a movie and using that in the universe of the movie, because I don't know, when I hear a regular song that I can hear on the radio in a movie, it kind of brings me out of it a little bit. So I like the idea of hearing a song for the first time in a movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was pretty cool, setup of the scene, and they were getting the environment and everything. So that was the biggest time where they used it. I think they used another one. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think what actually happened was it wasn't necessary, and I don't actually know, but my impression of it was that they kind of mixed his stuff into the other soundtrack stuff, or he collaborated with I don't know who actually did the score part of the soundtrack, but I think it sounded more like the more hip hop part of the soundtrack was actually kind of integrated into the more traditional
Marvel stuff.
Yeah, Marvel soundtrack stuff, which, so it wasn't blatantly and now here's a rap song during this action sequence. It was more kind of there was this hip hop kind of beat and edge, and it would kind of come in and out occasionally. Yeah.
Which I know you've had problems with hearing hip hop in movies. Was this, I don't know.
I don't have a problem with it. I'm just not a huge hip hop person. So
what was the movie recently that you said you heard hip-hop and you immediately said, turn it off? Remember? There's a movie that came out and they used hip-hop in it, and you're like, oh, no. Oh, The Great Gatsby, the new Great Gatsby movie.
Oh, I just really don't like their use of... I don't
it's new and approved, so
I don't buy the allegory of swing to rap or hip-hop. But
okay, in any case, we said we were going to talk about Black Panther. Doug, you saw it last night, literally, so on Friday. Yeah. So tell me what your thoughts were.
I loved it. I mean, I maybe agree with you a little bit. We had a slight conversation off air.
Slight.
Very slight. Just kind of where you said you thought that maybe that people were overblowing it a little bit. I see a little bit of that.
Not a lot.
I wasn't blown away. It's the most amazing movie I've ever seen, but I thought it was a really, really good, solid movie.
It was really strong, and I think it's made even better by the themes that they tackle. You said, and they do it so well. I give movies crap so much because when they have a message, a lot of times they will beat you over the goddamn head with it. I don't even like Wall-E, everybody. I'm an asshole. I don't like Wall-E because I think they beat you over the head with the message too much. That's the only part that I don't like. But, this movie has a deep fucking message, really great message, and it works so well in it, and it uses it as the basis for a character that makes sense. Oh my god, I love that.
It's their integration of their kind of message into the characters and the plot and the emotional content of the movie is really, really well done. I think that's definitely the strongest aspect of the movie, and why I think it ultimately is a great movie.
Yes.
Like, yeah, the idea of, like, if there was this, like, of this idea of isolationism and of, like, doing all you can for your fellow people, and, like, yeah, it's and specifically about, like, the state of minorities in America in this day and age, and specifically black folks. Like, it's a heavy subject, and like, looking at it on its face, like, how were they going to integrate that very American kind of commentary into this movie that, like, on its face value seems like it shouldn't really be all that integrated into that? Like, seems like it could be really forced. And no, they found some really smart ways to hook that into the emotional content of the characters in this movie, and actually make some really interesting and valid points.
Yes, Michael B. Michael B. Jordan's, like, performance in general, he really is a huge part of selling that.
Oh, for sure.
And that last, like, the last lines from him, where he's talking about people jumping off the boats as opposed to being held in captivity, like, it's so powerful. Like, he is really great.
His villain is probably, if not the strongest, he's definitely one of the strongest villains they've had. For very different reasons than the other villains that they've had have been good. This is, I mean, like, the subject matter is much heavier than this generally is, but I would say that he is probably the most Marvel villain in talking, like, comics that they've had in their movies. Like, he is
really
the Magneto style villain, in that he's doing horrible things and he's not redeemable, but they make you sympathetic to his cause in a way that, like, makes him fascinating, and you understand how he came about, if not sympathizing specifically with what his tactics and his ultimate agenda are. Yes,
exactly. Now, with all that said, I think some of the things that bring it back are, you know, some of the action scenes aren't the best, I think. I think the casino scene is really cool. I think the chase afterwards isn't as great.
Oh, I thought that was real fun. I thought that was a really fun sequence.
I like using my favorite part about some of the action in this is using the energy that's built up in the suit. I really like that suit.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. I think the movie doesn't really get going for a little bit. I think the first 20 minutes are kind of okay. I think until the villains come into the museum area, I think that's kind of where I don't know, my tension wasn't really peaked at the beginning with all the narration, and then the first, you know, scene with the young, you know, people, and then all that. I don't know. And then another complaint I have is, like, other than Michael B. Jordan, I think Chadwick Boseman and Okoye, who I liked as well, I think those are really the only three characters that I thought were, you know,
which
fleshed out enough.
Person is that? I don't recall who that.
Okoye?
Yeah, who was that?
She was the warrior who was the relation, like, in a love interest with Daniel Kaluuya.
Is that the guy from Get Out?
Yeah, the Get Out guy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, she's a great character.
She was great. I think other than that, I didn't, like, a lot of people are really giving a lot of credit to the sister, who I thought was fun.
I thought she was one of the best parts of the movie.
don't get me wrong. I just didn't really like. I thought she was good on it. I just didn't think she was.
Dude,
like,
they did like a straight up Bond and
James
Q.
Bond. I know.
Like that scene was so good. I love that scene.
I don't know. I felt a little poor man's James Bond, poor man's Q a little bit.
No, I thought it was so blatantly referential that it didn't feel like it was like a cheap version of it. And I just like it's the way in which that scene in particular made it really clear that this is like an espionage kind of movie in a lot of ways. Like they're mixing in those kind of like secret government operative stuff in with the African monarchy kind of plot in a way that I found to be a really, really fun, interesting mix that I haven't really seen before.
I understand that, but when you really think about it, the only espionage real scene, I think, is the casino scene after that. And they don't really go back to that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the movie was flavored around that. Like, just the idea of, like, it's a lot of the trappings, like, it's them going on these secret ops, like the very first part of the movie where he's taking out that caravan of jeeps with their prisoners in the jungle, where that's kind of a secret op. They're like the idea that they have spies embedded around the world and that one of them has turned on them. That's a very Bond like kind of idea. And again, that's not the whole movie. I don't think that the whole movie is like a Bond take, but there's definitely some flavor of that in there, and I really liked that. In general, it made me think about how like a lot of the modern, or the more recent, I should say, direction of the MCU has taken a lot of cues from spy film and tropes.
Well, yeah, especially like Winter Soldier.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, that's
yeah. Since Winter Soldier, and since they brought on the Russo brothers in general, a lot of their movies have kind of adopted a lot of those tropes. And I just this movie has made me realize, like, kind of that just kind of like that didn't just work in that context. That I think that's like a really smart way to like utilize existing film language and tropes to make superheroes work on film. I think I really like that.
I think it's great. One other thing about, since you mentioned the first scene, his love interest, Black Panther's love interest woman, I just wish there was more of her, and I wish I cared more about her.
Yeah, she was a little underdeveloped. I feel like they didn't
like the whole first scene where I don't think they sold her being a spy and off on work as well as they could have. You know what I mean? The whole first scene is kind of a flash or whatever, and then it's just kind of like, oh, we know you. And I wish, I don't know, for example, I wish kind of the movie would have opened up with her with all these refugees, and then have, you know, Black Panther come down and beat everybody up, and then her figure it. You know what I mean? Like, I wish it would have opened up with her as opposed to in the ship. I
think I get what you're saying. I think that it's an economy of space thing. Like, it's ultimately wasn't a movie about her character. She's kind of ancillary. To the point where, like, because they don't really develop that side of her, she does kind of feel like she's just there to be the love interest, which is unfortunate.
Because they keep saying, like, oh, I know you don't want to be that, but not really. But you don't really show me that she doesn't really want to be that, because, like, you know, at the end of the movie, she's basically, you know, gotta be that.
Yeah, and she doesn't really ever go, well, like, she comes with them on the mission, I guess, but, like, I don't know. Yeah, I see where you're coming from on that. She wasn't the best, like, developed character, but, like, I don't know. A lot of what I think is really, really impressive about this movie, other than the message, is just purely like the uniqueness of its aesthetic and visuals are so unlike really any other movie I've seen. Like the this kind of film realization of the kind of Afrofuturism kind of stuff, like the idea of like a super advanced African society that kind of like got there without the influence of like the outside world, like is super, super interesting to see on film. And like every part of that movie is so cool because it's like you're just it's a constant sense of discovery of like all the customs and kind of ways of life for this country because it's so cut off from the rest of the world.
I totally feel it. Yes, I completely agree. I know I'm trying to talk about things that I had problems with, but like I just want everyone to know, like I do really love this movie. I think it did explore those kinds of things so well. So much so also that I kind of wish we had more time in Wakanda, like in the city of Wakanda. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like down in the streets.
Yeah, which I'm glad, and this will go into our first news story or whatever, but we don't have to get there yet. But I hope in future movies that they do explore that more, because I don't necessarily want him being in the US as much, because I want these movies to be a place where he can, we can explore this place that they introduced very, very well, because while they introduced, I think, the monarchy and the rituals and the culture and everything very, very well, and the relationships they had between all the tribes, which, by the way, I love I love those relationships between the tribes.
That was really well done.
Those really play out. I love that.
Yeah. Very nuanced, but as well as they.
I want them to.
Yeah.
Yes, I want them to show that the life of people in the city, though, in the next movie. I want that to be a thing. I want him to be, I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
And I thought this was great, and I'm really excited. I'm sad about Andy Serkis.
Yeah, they like, we did finally get to see him with his sound cannon arm, which was kind of cool, but like he never really became like the full-fledged like Claw character, but also like, that character's not like, he's not a huge villain. Like his
really, I thought he was the main.
He's
Black
a
Panther
big Black Panther villain, but like, in all honesty, he's not like a super fascinating, like nuanced villain. Like he's kind of that. Like they kind of reinvented him as a little bit more of a like not mercenary, but kind of like soldier of fortune, I guess. In these movies a little bit more, whereas in the comics he's just kind of a super villain, like he's just like
kind of a dick,
robbing places or whatever, like. Okay. I will say in relation to what you're talking about seeing the people, like my one kind of big drawback in the movie is kind of that I'm always very cognizant of this in a lot of modern movies that deal with monarchy, the idea of kind of what are they saying about, like, and this is, I wouldn't even necessarily say this about if this was a different Marvel movie, but this movie very specifically had very political kind of messages in it that were very conscious, and they touch on this a little bit, but like the idea of a monarchy in the modern world and where they come down on like if that's really a good system, like they hint at it in this movie. They hint because they do deal with the idea of like a bad king takes over, like, and the people just kind of have to deal with it because that's their way of life, and they have to accept the new king for good or bad, and that's kind of shitty, and they kind of deal with that in a very kind of just matter-of-fact way. But ultimately, in the movie, the good king comes back and takes over, and so there's this kind of weird feeling of like, is this movie saying that like monarchy is okay as long as like the king is nice? Because
this is okay. See, this is how I see it. I totally agree. I think that with a first movie like this, where you're introducing a culture and a system and everything like that, I think it's good that they just kind of put a little bit of those seeds. I think what you're saying right now would be a fantastic continuation of the story.
Yes.
And a fantastic way to develop, over the course of a couple movies. Because I think they planted some seeds for that.
They definitely did.
And I think that would be something that would be greatly followed up on in a sequel.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted just a little bit more, just so that I would know that was a thing that they were maybe actually planting. Because I came away with the movie not really sure if that actually was. Because there were moments and there are ideas in the movie that definitely could potentially hint at that, but don't necessarily address it directly. I really do hope that is something that they deal with in a potential sequel. I don't think that they should wait too long to deal with that, because I think it is kind of a necessary topic to deal with. I think it could potentially, if they do deal with that in a sequel, the fact that they do let it kind of live and breathe, it could even be more impactful when they eventually tear that down, or the idea of it, and have them face it, or at least wrestle with it, they don't have to, I don't think Wakanda has to not be a monarchy anymore. I can't say what a good, they have their own way of life, but, I think that it is a really relevant topic that, it would be negligent of them to not at least have the characters,
talk about
wrestle
it.
With
it feels
that.
like they're not, real people would, people are complex, and at least some people in that city probably would, and that's an interesting viewpoint to have in that city when they have had that culture forever.
Yeah.
Especially. I think I'd be really excited. I think they would do that. It'd be a natural place to go. It'd be a great thing to tackle. I don't know.
I think considering the politically charged nature of this first one, and I think that is definitely a place they would go, or could go in the next one as a natural evolution of the ideas presented in this. If they do it as well as they did the messages in this one, I'm very excited for that. Overall, just a fantastic, fun, really, really strong first outing for this. I mean, he was in Civil War, but this was his first real showing that just proves this character works in his own world in a way that he almost kind of never did in the comics. He's always been kind of a cult character. He has a very strong following. People, I'm always really excited when I see Black Panther show up in stuff, because he does have this really unique vibe, but he's never really caught on in a way that he's never been a huge character. He's been an important character in the Marvel Universe, but not a big, he doesn't move a lot of books, or he doesn't they don't have big events.
What would you compare him to?
I'm not sure who exactly to compare him to, but
the Inhumans?
Inhumans are a little bit different. Also, I don't even know how to compare anything to the Inhumans anymore, because the Inhumans are weird situation now in terms of how they're presented in comics and in the cinematic universe. But
whatever. But I thought this was a great first outing. It was, like you said, it's great, and this director really knows how to work with this character as well. And I really want to see other movies from him now. Apparently, Fruitvale Station, I've heard, is really good. And Creed, apparently,
I've heard really good things about Creed.
Weird to me.
Both of those movies have Michael B. Jordan in them, and I have not seen Creed. I have seen Fruitvale Station. It's not a movie to go into lightly. It's a movie about police brutality.
Oh, okay.
I
want to see that. That's
true. Yep.
It's a true story.
Oh
shit.
Yeah. And it's a really heavy movie. Really, really good performance from Michael B. Jordan in it. But I've also heard really good things about Creed, in just the complete opposite direction of that, just being that's a Rocky movie Yeah.
It literally is a Rocky movie, isn't it?
It's a Rocky spin-off kind of movie. Like,
which is
he's
insane.
Apollo Creed's son, and he's, I think he's being trained by, good God, I can't recall his name. What is the man's name? I'm having a stroke.
What's Sylvester Stallone?
God, yes, okay, thank you. Just a.
What do you mean, Doug?
Oh,
you forget my name?
are you okay? Or you're doing a Stallone impression. For a second there, I thought you were mocking people who have had strokes.
Oh my God, Jesus!
I was just appalled for half a second, but
Holy crap! What if Sylvester Stallone doesn't actually talk like that? This whole life, he's been doing a performance piece, and he's just been mocking people who have had strokes.
Oh boy, we need to move off of this.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So on a related topic here, let's move into news. So,
oh wait, I'm so sorry. Still Black Panther. Doug, where do you think the last Infinity Stone is?
I mean, the big rumor is that it's in Wakanda. It's the Soul Stone.
People think I've heard it's either in the flower bed, which allows them to speak to their ancestors and stuff, which makes sense.
It feels like it is connected to that heart-shaped herb or something like that. It's producing them or something. The very glowy purple. I don't remember what the colors of all the other stones are right now. They changed.
This is supposed to be orange, I think.
Is it? I don't know.
Wait, no. Isn't the one in Vision orange?
I think that one's yellow. Because he shoots yellow beams from his head. I'm pretty sure it's yellow.
I guess so. Okay, in any case, that's all then.
Anyway,
okay.
because they do deal a lot with like seeing the spirits of their ancestors. So if it's the Soul Stone, that would make sense. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. But yeah. Marvel wants, wait, here we go. We're gonna move on into news.
I mean, I literally just did that like 2 minutes ago. And then you went back to Black Panther, so I'm not gonna play the theme again.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Marvel wants Ryan Coogler for a likely BP sequel, and I also read this. He said he would love to do that as well. So, cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's not surprising. Like, that movie's doing very well. So, of course they would want him back to do another one, and of course they would want to do another one. So, that's cool. And I do agree with you that, like, I hope that if they make a potential sequel, like, in the other movies, when Black Panther shows up, like, cool, he can come over to America or wherever else in the world and run around and do stuff with the Avengers or whatever. But like, yeah, those Black Panther movies should deal heavily with Wakanda, and I do want to see that fleshed out more.
That's what's special. That's the special thing about him. Like,
that's the really unique and cool thing about that character.
Like, I'm pumped for Infinity War when it goes into Wakanda.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pumped for it.
And that's interesting
awesome.
that it's like so close to Black Panther in the grand scheme of things. Like, that's the next movie, right? That's that's before Ant-Man and the Wasp,
That's
right?
the next movie. That's May 3rd.
Yeah. Ant-Man and the Wasp is later.
Ant-Man and the Wasp is July something.
So we're gonna get a lot more Wakanda very soon, which it's very good that this movie was good because that could have backfired.
Imagine.
But
they had faith. Ryan
I mean,
Coogler's,
like, that movie.
They've seen his
that movie
director.
Never really showed signs of like being bad. Like I wasn't necessarily always super sold that it was gonna be amazing, but it always looked like it was at least going to be solid.
It was at least going to be like Ant-Man level of good, but it surpassed that with its fantastic use.
Yeah.
So yeah, so excited for sequel. Oh yeah, this Incredibles 2 thing. I got that before the movie actually.
Oh yeah, you did. Wait, they played that sneak peek thing because it's not really a trailer. That's weird.
Yes, it is.
Not really. It's a teaser, but it
gives you plot points.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. They're not referring to it as a trailer or a teaser. But anyway,
maybe I didn't, but it's. Oh, never mind. I saw it in the Olympics.
Because that was the whole thing. Is that they were like, tune in during the Olympics for a sneak peek of, which is a weird distinction to make. It's a teaser, but like, yeah. Anyway,
It's cool,
it looks fun. I think this trailer is really mostly just giving you like the B plot, which is like Mr. Incredible staying home with the kids while Elastigirl, Woman. God, I get her mixed up with the character from Doom Patrol because they have the same name.
Oh yeah, Elastigirl. I'm pretty sure.
Is it Elastigirl? Okay. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure
they're trying to make her into more of a big thing to bring her back as a big hero, which is cool because.
Well, the company that is trying to promote her is obviously got ill intent.
That's gotta be the eventual twist is that she's being used somehow or something. But or at least that would be the obvious one. But and then
I know. Here we go. Here's my prediction. This company is going to be promoting her, but because the company knows that you can't have a superhero without a supervillain, they're going to be also funding or doing something for the supervillain side of it.
Oh, sure. Like it's all just like a publicity thing or whatever. Like they're just... that would fit with the ideas of the first movie in this kind of like fictionalizing the idea of superheroes or supervillains.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would fit. It might be a little bit of treading the same water, but... But, if done well and differentiates itself enough, like it could also just be a nice kind of natural evolution of that idea.
I mean, honestly, a lot of the first movies is, Mr. Incredible dealing with his middle-aged, self and his family. I don't know. I don't think that's really treading the same water as much if they go into that.
I mean, at least not on a
direct sense.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so that looks fun. I'm super excited for that. That's probably my favorite Pixar movie. So I should go back and rewatch that first. I contend to this day the best Fantastic Four movie that will probably ever be made. It's just like I don't know that was the direct intention, but like it's a fucking Fantastic Four movie. Like it's just.
I mean, it is. Other than Dash being Johnny Storm, every single other character has basically the exact same power. It's not even necessarily
like there are direct corollaries for the powers, but it's more just kind of the general like themes and the idea of like family as superheroes who don't always necessarily want to be superheroes, and like the very 60s retro feel to it. And yeah, like a lot of that movie just feels like it's very inspired by at least the same stuff that the Fantastic Four is.
Okay. Cool. And then I saw this here, and you kept it on here, so you apparently... Do you know about The Kitchen? Apparently they're going to adapt The Kitchen into a movie, which is a comic or graphic novel or series, and that one girl who always makes fart jokes is going to be in it.
Melissa McCarthy. Yeah.
Yes, that one. You knew who I was talking about.
I'm looking at the article, but...
And it's a serious movie, apparently.
I think it's like a dark comedy. Okay. I mean, I think it's both, but I haven't read this book. I've heard it's good, but it's interesting. Like maybe this will get me to read the book, but they're adapting.
I'd be down if it's a
Vertigo book, so it's DC's kind of more creator owned imprint.
Creator owned.
And it's basically the idea is these mob bosses go to prison, and all of their wives have to basically take over the mob.
Oh, so, that's kind of cool.
So it's just like a crime story. Like there's nothing like sci-fi or fantasy about it. It's just like a crime story about these mob wives who have to take over the business, shake some folks down.
That is super cool.
It's a. Yeah.
I hope they do this right though. Hiring Melissa McCarthy makes me worried.
That seems to imply it's going to go in a more comedic direction, but you never know. I mean, maybe she has more drama in her, but I think I think the book has at least a black comedy slant to it. So, so if they were going more in that direction and maybe just leaning a little harder into the comedy, I could see her doing like a black comedy thing. Like,
I would love her to be like her toned down. I'm sure it's really, really great. Just, things like Ghostbusters. I can't. No.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of her improv comedy stuff. But I don't necessarily dislike her in totality as an actress. I don't like a lot of the movies she makes.
I've never seen her.
I would be interested to see her in something that kind of splits that balance a little bit more.
Was she in Bridesmaids? Was that her?
I think.
'Cause I love that movie.
It might. Yes.
Is either her or Rebel Wilson?
That might be her big thing. Yes, she was in Bridesmaids. I think she was. Yeah, she was. That was like her big like break.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm excited. That sounds like a really cool story. Maybe we can watch that or read that in front of the movie, like a happy thing. Hopefully it's better than that turned out.
I mean, yeah, hopefully it's not that situation, but yeah, I mean, I like keeping stuff like that on here because, just as a reminder that like, oh yeah, it might be interesting to read that and then see the movie and see how they're different,
Yeah.
But, cool.
Okay, moving into comics news. Everyone's been seeing these Wolverine things. In fact, we have 2 in our stack this week. Where's Wolverine things? Did you read both of them, by the way, Doug?
I did. I don't really understand the point of any of them.
There really isn't a point because you know why there's no point, Doug? Because they're going to have 4 different 4-part series to tell this goddamn story.
Yeah, 16 issues over the course of 4 different miniseries are going to tell... Like, they announced one a little while ago. Apparently there are 3 more, which is
absurd.
The worst kind of comic book event storytelling, where you require people to... if you want to get the full story, you have to read all 4 of these miniseries. And they're all, I'm pretty sure, releasing concurrently, not one after another. This is everything I hate about comic book event stuff. And I like comic book event stuff when it's good, but like sometimes the marketing stuff behind them and the release decisions drive me absolutely up the wall. And I was vaguely interested in at least seeing how they brought Wolverine back. I wasn't super thrilled with the creative teams or whatever. I think it was that one that they announced was written by Charles Soule, and he's fine. But I like Wolverine, and I've never really read a whole lot of Wolverine stuff outside of X-Force, and I'm interested to see some more modern Wolverine stuff. But fuck no, am I reading 4 different miniseries all releasing at the same time? No, I've lost all interest in this. Let me know when it's over, and I'll try to read whatever he's in after that.
Yeah. No, definitely. I feel you. It's sad because would you ever want to read Old Man Logan?
The original? The Mark Millar book?
Oh, is there... Oh, yeah. When did that come out?
I don't know when it came out, but it's if you're talking about the source material for Old Man Logan, it was a Mark Millar written mini-series, or I don't know if it was a mini, but anyway, it was a limited series of some kind that was telling an alternate future tale of Wolverine. I am definitely super interested in reading that. I keep saying I'm going to read it, but I just haven't gotten around to it. But,
maybe sometime we'll do it together and we'll talk about it or something like that.
And Old Man Logan has, as a character, has been, because they obviously killed him.
Wolverine. He filled the void, right?
Yeah, they brought in Old Man Logan so they could have a Wolverine, and now they're bringing back normal Wolverine, I guess. I don't know. It's all nonsense, but whatever.
Okay. Well, we also, Doug, I have a Jewish girlfriend, and she's trying to, read more comics, and I think this is a really great way to do it. This isn't actually news this week, but I just saw this because the Jewish Heritage, I don't know what it was. Jewish
How did
heritage.
you even... The Jewish Telegraph Agency is where you found
Jewish
this
Telegraph
article.
Agency. Because I type in, to find news stories, I type in DC Comics and Marvel Comics on Google, and I go to the news section, and I scroll until I find stuff.
Yeah,
so
because sometimes you put in some stuff that is just, like, random opinion pieces and stuff. But anyway... Yeah.
Make Superman Jewish again, though. I had no idea that this was a thing, that he was ever Jewish. So you said that it's not as clear cut as I'm saying, though. So let's hear.
Okay, okay. So this is a kind of a news story from some talking points that Brian Michael Bendis had when they announced a few weeks ago that he was
Brian
taking
Michael Bendis is Jewish.
Yes. He's going to be taking over Superman in Action Comics, so he's going to be writing Superman. Superman has never really been explicitly Jewish. Like, he hasn't been presented as, like, he's a person of Jewish... Well, obviously he's not a person of Jewish heritage. He's an alien, but like, a Jewish upbringing or anything.
Yeah.
But he was created by Siegel and Schuster.
Were you going to say Simon and Garfunkel?
No, I was going to say Simon and Schuster. I don't remember. Anyways, Siegel and Schuster, and they were Jewish creators, and there are very much, if you look at the original texts of the original, like, Superman comics, there is very much a subtext of, like, Jewish fable and Jewish morals and teachings in his stories. Just the very basic idea of like, being he's almost like a God. I'm forgetting the name.
Yeah, you're umming a lot. What are you trying to look for here?
I'm trying to think of the... Oh, God. Jack, my brain's not working this week.
Torah?
Who's the guy they sent him down the river in the basket.
Moses?
Oh, God.
Jesus.
Jack, I have a pocket of just air in my brain this week that is just
Well, no,
growing.
you fill it all with comics, like random comics things.
Apparently. I can't remember Moses anymore. Anyway, yeah, like, the idea of, like, sending him from his home planet in a rocket, and he's adopted by this kindly family, and then, like, in the original, like, he was kind of co-opted in a lot of ways by this idea of, like, the American way, and this very kind of almost Christian Christ kind of figure in, like, the Silver Age. But the original version of him was very much like, I'm, like, a very socially conscious, like, activist character.
Interesting.
He was like, standing up for the disenfranchised and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So they kind of made him more. Yeah. They did, like, a sort of Milk Wars thing with him. They made him more like, Leave It to Beaver, as opposed to this specific image of him.
Yeah, which, like, again, like, he's never been explicitly Jewish, but he was originally conceived with this very subtextual Jewish kind of coding. And whether, like, that, it brings up an interesting thought of, like, does original intent matter with a character, or is what the character was actually presented as, like, more important? It could go either way on it, but I do think it's a very interesting and valid thing to explore with the character, considering it does have that background.
Yeah, it depends on the writer, I assume, and the writer giving him a specific identity is I know I've seen that it's never, like, a bad thing usually, or it doesn't always have to be a bad thing. It's a good thing, in fact, sometimes. So it's a specific note that he's going to hit, maybe, and it'll be cool how he does it.
Yeah, I think it could potentially be a really good way to, like, give him an interesting flavor, at least during Bendis's run, if whether or not anyone else, like, continues with that idea or not. But I I think it would be a nice way to honor the original creation and intent of the character.
Okay.
And like there aren't a whole lot of Jewish characters in comics, so I think it could potentially be really powerful to make Superman like the biggest superhero character for all, like in terms of like recognizability. Batman might have passed him in in this day and age, but like historically, an overtly Jewish character could be really cool. Yeah,
it'll be there's Bizarro Superman. There's Black Suit Superman. Now it's gonna be Menorah Superman.
Menorah Superman. Oh boy. Yeah.
Okay, in any case, that's cool. I'm excited. Well, we also have some, other DC news. We've been talking recently about some of, I don't know if we've talked about it on the show, but we talked together about, some social media stuff that some of these writers are putting out. So I think, in light of that, maybe getting some into hot water, DC has put out new guidelines for social media activity for its employees and editor. Employees kind of is a catch-all. So, Doug, you said this is more got more to it than just them putting this out. So let's hear what you think.
Yeah, I don't really want to get like too in the weeds on this stuff because so like there were allegations of harassment specifically against DC artist Ethan Van Sciver very recently that blew up on social media in a lot of ways. That he got in a very public argument / possible harassment campaign / I don't know what. I wasn't following it very closely, but he claims, like he counterclaims that he was being harassed by this African American webcomics creator whose name is escaping me right now.
Trying to get out of your head.
There's weird, loose then connections where that whole thing was taken up by this cause of loosely connected people who go under the I don't know if it's the name of their movement. I don't know.
They're all like Comicsgate thing?
Yes, Comicsgate, which
I read a little bit. I had never heard about that. What is it?
I don't really want to get too deep into that because I don't think it merits giving the time of day, in all honesty. It's a bunch of people who are railing against the use of what they perceive as the forcing of diversity and liberal agendas into their comics. They're saying that they want like no politics in comics, like keep the politics out of my comics.
What?
And Ethan Van Sciver has been kind of, if not overtly, kind of loosely connected to those ideals for a while and has been in the past very specifically called out multiple times for harassment campaigns. So he claims that this wasn't this wasn't him harassing a minority creator, but I don't know that his track record really validates his opinions. So I don't know all the details in all of this. I just know what I've kind of seen from the sidelines. But this DC statement, that gives guidelines for their creators on social media, it's very relevant. They don't call anything out in specific, but it's basically just like it's them battening down the hatches for them as a company in terms of not getting themselves in controversy. Is basically sense. What it is, which like you would always wish that they would like more specifically call out like specifics and like say that like we don't align ourselves with the types of ideas that are being presented in these events, because it's like caused by very specific arguments, and issues that are going on Twitter and social media in general. But it's more or less them like being like, hey, don't get into arguments with people on Twitter. Like, like that's basically what all of this is. It's like, if it's like, don't talk to the press unofficially on social media. Don't get in arguments with fans who like don't like your work. Don't like it. It's telling them to just like don't cause shit for us on Twitter in a way that's very, I mean, like it makes sense for them as a corporation. Yeah.
Okay.
Timely.
Very timely. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't had guidelines already. Like, in wrestling, this is a huge thing. Like, they basically don't even run their tweets, basically. Like, they have them remove anything that gets any controversy whatsoever. Yep. And I'm surprised that this hasn't been a thing already, honestly.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I don't know specifically, but I wouldn't be surprised if they already did have some sort of, like, at least loose guidelines. But, like, I think this is just them, like, doubling down on, like, hey, don't do these things on social media because we are getting lots of shit for this right now.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we can move on then. That's cool. Well, it's not, well, it's complicated.
It's weird and shitty and, like, I mean, hopefully this at least discourages people from getting in gross harassment campaigns with other people on social media, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, moving on, we have the 2010 Hickman Marvel series S.H.I.E.L.D. Is this like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or is this just
it's
S.H.I.E.L.D.?
It's the Marvel Universe organization S.H.I.E.L.D., but this is a specific series written by Jonathan Hickman, art by Dustin Weaver.
So it's finally ending, and apparently they have been on the last 2 issues for years.
Yeah, this was a 2010 series. They released 4 issues. It was going to be a 6-issue miniseries. It was a continuation of another volume of this series. So there was a volume that I think was about 6 issues, and then they did a second volume, and they printed the first 4 issues, but they never printed 5 and 6. I have not read this series, but I've always been
art looks so cool.
Yeah, I've always been super interested to check it out because I really like Jonathan Hickman's work, and this has always been not a weird oddity in the scope of his work, because Jonathan Hickman has a strange track record of like books like disappearing and like or getting delayed by like months or years sometimes. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes with him, but like this isn't necessarily unusual for him. It's unusual for comics in general to just like release a few issues and then just drop off the map. But yeah, because it just didn't finish. Like it just like it
Weird.
was it's intended to be a 6-issue miniseries, and they never released 5 and 6. I have not read this series, but I've been really interested. I think I said that a second ago, but I'm thinking this is potentially impetus for me to read through them. It's like the idea of these 2 series is that like this secret conspiracy of the past of S.H.I.E.L.D. that like famous historical figures were like, it's almost this like Illuminati thing of like high profile.
Yeah, I saw it with like Galileo and like Da Vinci and shit.
High profile like historical intellectual people secretly being members of like an ancient version of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's really cool.
That's cool. And the art, like, I know, like, who is the artist on this? Because it looks so great.
Well,
that Weaver?
I'm not entirely sure. Are these covers also by Dustin Weaver? I'm not sure. Because I know if you scroll down this article, I've linked. Yeah, okay. So the art is cool. That's Dustin Weaver. I don't know that I've ever read a book drawn by him. So, but it does look really cool. Specifically, this really big splash page they have on this preview.
Yes.
Really cool. Yeah. It looks really cool. I'm probably going to. I mean, they're only like 2 6-issue miniseries, and one of them isn't isn't 6. So I'm probably gonna try to catch up on that before this comes out in apparently May. They're going to release the
Oh wow.
If you want to, they are releasing the first 4 issues of this. They're reprinting it as a single volume.
Okay.
Like a primer, basically before the 5 and 6 come out.
I'm down to try that.
But I feel like you'd probably have to read the other series that came before it first, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
that would be my guess.
Well, that's in a full trade, probably, right?
That probably yes, because that is a full finished miniseries. I think 6 issues.
Okay. Well, I'll add that to my little thing. I made a pull list on our Google Drive, by the way. I don't know if you want to use it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So yeah, I'm gonna put that down in not bold because it's not on my poll yet. It's just called Shield by Weaver and someone.
Jonathan Hickman and Dustin Weaver. Shield.
Hickman, and that first miniseries is by them too.
Yes.
Okay, I got it. I'm gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, Doug, we every week we read comics. Current comics.
Mm-hmm.
Great. We have like all these are my polls. So I'm just gonna say it's our poll. Are they all on your poll?
Most of these books are in my poll list. Yeah. Some of them I'm kind of waiting month to month on whether or not I'm gonna keep reading them or not. Technically.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that. In any case, we have several books that we both read, including what we both read were Captain America 698, Dark Knight's Rising: The Wild Hunt, which we're probably going to talk specifics about, Doctor Strange 385, which we're also going to talk some specifics about, Marvel 2-in-1 number 3. That's a mouthful. Paradiso number 3. And Avengers 680. Mm-hmm. And Doug has some that I did not read.
Yeah, I also read, just to shout them out, Detective Comics number 974, which, heartbreaking. Kill or Be Killed, number 16, The Black Monday Murders, number 8, The Flash, number 40. And yeah, spoiler warning, we're about to talk specifics. But I guess before we get into real specifics of these books, we got our covers of the week. What do you...
Our cover of the week!
We're going to do that bit every week now.
Sorry. Also, what was heartbreaking about Detective Comics? Really quickly, spoilers on that.
Do you just want me to tell you, or...
Yeah, just tell me. All right,
well, have I told you that Clayface has been, like...
Oh, I saw something about this on news stories. That sucks.
Yeah, so basically, that's the Bat Family team book in Detective Comics currently. This volume of it is. And on the team is kind of a reformed Clayface. By the way, in their annual week or two, I think it was a couple weeks ago, they told, like, this is a tangent, but they told probably what is the definitive origin story for Clayface, and it's that story that is tragic. Yeah, very tragic backstory.
May I pick it up? Do you think I could still find it?
Probably. Yeah, it was Detective Comics annual, probably number 2, I would guess, but I'm not sure.
And it's Tom King?
No, this is Detective Comics. So this is James Tynion the Fourth.
Okay. Yeah. I've been hearing that name a lot recently.
Yeah, because he's been co-writing a bunch of the metal tie-in stuff. But he writes Detective Comics. Anyway, Clayface died in this issue. He
like definitively, like he's
I mean, as far as we know, like in this issue, they say like he is. Oh God, what is the phrasing they use? They like state it in such a way like the scientist character like looks at his remains and is like, "Nah, he's dead."
Oh God.
So yeah, he's quite dead. It's the phrasing they use.
Jesus.
Yeah, but yeah, really, really really heartbreaking because they spent up until this point like really developing his character to be this really
the Game of Thrones
tragic kind of anti-hero character who like wants to be good. Anyway, we weren't really going to talk much about that book, but I just wanted to.
But this is a huge weekend, so many books, so I just wanted to get a word on that.
Yeah, very, very, very sad. As far as we know, he is dead right now.
It sucks. Okay, well, the cover of the week. Doug, what was your cover of the week?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's a really good one.
That's my dog. That's our guest.
That's a really good one.
Our guest host this week, my dog Raven. Who is you are probably going to hear growling in the background now, because someone's garage door opened.
I love Raven. Raven is a good-looking dog, and I gave her for Christmas. My girlfriend and I gave her gingerbread treats.
Mm-hmm.
I know, it's really exciting. Doug, what's your cover of the week?
I like how you're trying to just slip that into conversation and not do the whole voice, but kind of half doing the voice.
Well, you know.
God, my dog is... Raven, calm down. Sorry about that. Yeah, my cover of the week was Captain America, number 698. And I think a lot of this cover is, like, it's the color. Like, I really like when Captain America stuff utilizes, like, more purpley colors. Because it's a nice... It's a nice way to just, like, really simply get out the red and blue tones. And it's Captain America...
Make him less America.
Well, no, it's just, like, it kind of, in a weird way, like, sums it up in a single color, even though that's not an American color. And it just, like, it works really well with, I think, the idea of Captain America. But anyway, so it's Captain America. He's in ice. This cover is by Chris Samney, the normal... interior artist in this series, and he's been frozen again. He's been sent to the future, and he's like in this war-torn wasteland, and that's what the cover is he's frozen in ice, and it's these bunch of weary people from this dystopian future just kind of staring at him, and
as he's melting.
Yeah, the ice is melting because he gets unthawed. He's thawed out. He comes out of the ice.
Yeah, unthawed would be like put him back in the freezer.
Well, technically thawed and unthawed are the same. They mean the same thing. It's a weird linguistic thing. It's like how flammable and inflammable mean the exact same thing.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, so this cover is just I think it's mostly the colors. It's just like very striking. I think it's a cool cover.
Okay, cool. Well, my cover of the week is actually Paradiso, which we were getting ready to drop if this issue didn't impress. Which I don't know if we have this at all, but in any case, I like this cover because I think it's a really cool visualization. We basically learn in this issue that Paradiso is kind of powered by like this central server of a kind that has a human heart and like talks and shit. And I don't know, I just really like this cover. It looks really cool, and it gives you a really cool teaser on what the fuck is this. Yeah. You know, I think the covers thus far have been kind of okay, that's cool, but you know, it doesn't really. I don't really get what
the
you're
covers
saying.
have been very, very abstract. This one gives you, I think, a little bit more to kind of wrap your head around in terms of visuals. But
yeah. And Doug, since we're not gonna talk about this that much, what did you think this was enough to have you continue? Because I honestly, I'm gonna continue because I like this one a lot more.
Jack, I didn't read it. Okay.
God damn! I told you.
Well, I know, and I reached a conclusion this week that okay. So every week, before I read any of my books, I have my pile of books, and before I read the first book, I go through and I order all of them, first to last. What am I most excited to read, and what am I least excited to read? And I just do that basically so that every morning I like to read comics on my lunch break, and so that every morning I can just grab whatever's the next book off the stack without having to like go through and be like, what do I want to read today? I just grab whatever's the next one I've already pre-selected as like the thing I'm most excited to read. And
okay,
I don't know, and it's just like a little fun ritual thing I have when I get my books. And every single, well, I mean, I guess there's only been 3 issues of this, but 3 issues in a row, this book has been on the bottom of the absolute last on my list. And this book is fine. This book is good. And I'm sure this issue is more interesting than the last issue. I don't think I care.
Okay. I mean, are you kidding? Are you telling me that you have like a significant amount of books in your collection that you've just never even opened?
If I have reached this kind of conclusion before, I usually hit this like a few times a year where I have a book on my list that I've been getting, and it's been on the bottom every single time, and I get down to it and I'm like, oh, I have a bunch of books to read this week. I'm reading too many books right now. I need to cut something. This book has been on the bottom every week. I don't even really feel like reading it. So I just basically throw it out. I have a pile of, because I do regular kind of culls of my physical issues on like what do I essentially need to keep in my collection and what can I get rid of because I want to keep it in control. And also I just like the like kind of curation kind of bit of it. Like I like the idea of like slowly like weeding out like all of my physical issues so that one day I just have like these boxes of like all of these books are amazing and I can vouch for every single one of them, and I've gotten rid of all of the fluff. So every once in a while I get rid of issues. So when I reach a point like that with series, I just put it in the pile of stuff that I'm getting rid of, basically. Okay,
I'm just telling you.
I don't care.
Like,
I just don't care.
Okay.
I'm sure it's better.
It reins in all that stuff, and it's a lot. Like, it's way better.
You can keep reading it. I'm not saying I'm not even saying the series is bad.
I'm going to spite you.
I have liked the first 2 issues. I'm reading a lot of books, and this book has not, for whatever reason, I'm just not excited to read this book ever, and I don't really feel like reading it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It is a really cool cover, though. I like the cover.
Okay. Okay. In any case, we're gonna do our specific things, the ones that we're gonna get into some details on, and our first one seemingly is a end to a big storyline. Doctor Strange number 385 is my official. Let's go into specifics on this book. And by the way, I love this cover too.
It's a
such
great
a cool,
cover.
like, psychedelic sort of thing
for cover.
That's my second choice as well. But this story in general by Donny Cates is goddamn amazing.
Gabriel
I
Hernandez
love this.
also on art on this series as well.
On art, sorry, Gabriel Hernandez. I didn't remember the name, that's why I didn't say it. But they take all the elements that they've introduced and they rein it in so goddamn well. You know, we start with, the Void. Okay, sorry, everyone. Doctor Strange hasn't been Sorcerer Supreme, okay? Loki has been, because he failed at this tournament that we learned about. Loki's been trying to get control of this spell called the Exile Sinsoon.
Okay, we'll get into it in a sec, but like I'm just
Doctor
setting
Strange
up. Is afraid that Loki is going to get control of this.
Oh, he's afraid. It's fear.
I mean, like,
yes, you're right.
Loki, as far as we know, this whole time hasn't even been aware of it.
Wait, are you kidding me?
No, that's
yes,
the
he
whole
has.
point, is that Doctor Strange thinks he's going to find out about this spell. He has no idea. He finds out in this issue that it exists. Yes!
No!
100%!
No! Doug, do you know why he had Doctor Strange open up the doors in the last issue?
He didn't know what was behind the door.
He said himself that he's looking for the Sinsoon thing.
No, he 100%
Doug,
did not.
You are going to set up what this issue is, I'm going to go look at this first issue. I swear to God. 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm putting it on mute.
I think that was in the second issue.
You're going to set up.
Anyways, I'm pretty sure he did not. Yeah, so Loki has been Sorcerer Supreme because Doctor Strange was seemingly removed from his title as the Sorcerer Supreme, which is kind of the ultimate mystical authority of magic on Earth. Mystical authority of magic. That's not redundant at all. And so Doctor Strange has been afraid that Loki is going to find this something of Sing Soon, this spell.
Okay, the exile of Sing Soon. Okay, part 1.
And so basically, he has, as a safeguard to keep it from Loki or from others, he's hidden this spell in his assistant, his apprentice, Zelma Stanton, and he's spent this whole arc basically paranoid that Loki, because he's historically a villain, is going to get this spell, and basically would allow him to consolidate all of magic on Earth into himself and basically steal it from everyone else so that he has all of the magical power. And so Doctor Strange has enlisted the help of a very powerful, almost Superman-like character called the Sentry, and they raided Asgard to get him magical powers back, and then they had a big fight. And this issue is they had Loki forced. Doctor Strange basically unleashed an evil being called the Void from the basement of his home where Loki was living, and basically has like the nuclear option here to I don't trust Loki, and this thing is going to maybe be enough of a threat to stop Loki. But kind of the eventual reveal here is that Doctor Strange is super kind of in the wrong here.
Are you ready to be wrong, Doug?
What is it?
Issue number 382, part 2, you're right. Part 2, he's using the Scourge the Executioner things to try and open this locked door that we now know the Void is trapped behind. And Zelma says, if you don't even know if that spell is in there, and then she says also, where is it? She says the Sing Soon thing. Stop it. Don't talk. Here we go. Maybe if you told me what this Sing Soon thing does, I could help you find, I know I'm obsessing. It's just, what else could it be? What else would he go such lengths to keep this from me?
Why does he want it?
Because he can control all magic.
That's the whole reveal at the end of this issue, is that he doesn't. He doesn't.
Maybe he just wants the control. He doesn't want it all for himself. Maybe he just wants to control it.
But that's the whole thing, is that he gives it. He only uses it at the end of this issue. So he reveals basically that the spell, or finds out that the spell is in Zelma because of magic shit. And he reaches in and he takes the spell out of Zelma, and he uses it to consolidate all of the magic on Earth into himself so he can stop the Void, and then he redistributes it back to everyone immediately. And the kind of reveal here is that Loki kind of just kind of conned his way into this. He didn't actually defeat Doctor Strange in a tournament. He never defeated Doctor Strange in a tournament, but the entire sequence of events that led to him being the Sorcerer Supreme was all an illusion, apparently. And he basically claims here that he is doing this as a way to strengthen Doctor Strange and prepare him for this sequence of horrible events that's going to happen in the near future. Whether or not he's lying, but because they make a big point of making him kind of unreliable in that, because he gives a number of different things, but that's the one real big explanation he gives.
Oh, shut up, Loki.
Yeah.
Just give me my cloak.
I forgot
Leave
about
my
that. That
home.
was going to be my panel. I love that. Like, he like gives a bunch of bullshit answers also why he did all this, and then Doctor Strange just cuts him off in the middle of a sentence, just says, "Shut up, Loki, just give me my cloak."
Which, by the way, how does Loki give Doctor Strange the illusion that he doesn't have any magical power? Because assuming he has magical power still, right?
I'm not entirely clear on that, but I guess maybe he just doesn't think. Maybe he, because he took all his magical resources, like he has his cloak and his home and stuff, and maybe Doctor Strange just thinks he doesn't have powers anymore. I don't know. I'm not entirely clear on that. But in any case, I
also wanted. So my big point with this is, do you feel slighted by Loki? Is that the point? Is that good?
What do you mean by that? I don't entirely understand.
Is the fact that this whole conflict was just based on an illusion from Loki for, his own, idea about his image, trying to get his image better. Do you feel like the story didn't matter? Or do you feel like it still, I think it still mattered because it gave us introspection on some of Doctor Strange's character and Loki's character and the Sentry as well. But it does feel a little like a cop-out, doesn't it?
I think that's kind of the point, is that it is kind of this feeling of, like, all of this was over kind of nothing. But that seems to be, to me, the point, because pretty much all of the plot was driven forward by this paranoia that Doctor Strange had, that Loki was going to misuse this power for evil. And he went to such extreme lengths to stop him, to the point where he unleashed basically this horrible monster that wanted to destroy the world just to stop him. And it kind of turns everyone against him in the end. I think, honestly, this is pretty impactful in terms of what it means for Doctor Strange, for Stephen Strange. Zelma quits because she's like, dude, you hid this magical spell inside me, and then you didn't, say anything to me when you were afraid he was going to take it. You just, started fucking shit up. It reflects very poorly on Doctor Strange's judgment in this whole sequence of events, and I think it's a really kind of it's a very tragic kind of story in terms of his self-control and his paranoia about he thinks he's the only person who should have this power and no one else should have this power, and anyone else who has this power must be using it for evil, and I think it's a real a growing kind of point for him to learn from this and kind of,
I can feel that. No, definitely. And is the Sentry literally about to kill him if Loki doesn't put his shield around him? You know what I mean?
He might. He is pretty pissed, and he has super strength. But yeah, Sentry's pretty pissed because this entity, this evil entity, the Void, is something that he has struggled with forever.
Yeah,
and he's pretty pissed that he kind of used him and then let out this evil entity who's
granted that was Loki's fault.
Not really. He didn't have to open the door. In that last issue, he asks him to open the door, but Doctor Strange doesn't have to open the door. They're still in the middle of this fight. Doctor Strange, very clearly in that last issue, purposefully is fine, you know what? This'll fuck you up.
I guess so. And, opens the door. You're right. Yeah.
Loki does ask him to open the door, but Doctor Strange does it as a strategic move in the fight.
You're right. Yeah, no, I guess so. God, that's just. But yeah,
it's heavy.
What a goddamn story. Yep. Amazing. I'm so excited. And apparently, they say next is Damnation. Apparently, they're going to have Damnation, which is the event starting next week. But these regular issues of Doctor Strange are apparently going to give more... They're like tie-ins, kind of, in a way.
Yeah, the regular issues of Doctor Strange are going to be somehow a part of Damnation. Yeah.
Should be great. I'm excited to learn about Mephisto.
Yep, he's basically the devil.
Okay. But yeah, that's cool. About it. I'm really glad we read that. That was awesome, and I'm definitely going to be excited for Donny Cates. Anything that he does. Jesus.
Yeah. So my book that I wanted to talk about this week was the Dark Knights Metal tie-in, Dark Knights Rising: The Wild Hunt.
Yes. Not The Witcher 3?
With... Are you shifting around like a shit ton?
I just shifted around. Give me a break, okay? I'm
for the last 2 minutes I've heard fabric shifting.
Okay, I was putting, because I had to get the Doctor Strange issues and prove you wrong, which you were, and then I had to come back and get comfortable. I'm sleepover style on my bed right now in a state of undress.
So this issue written and drawn by just an army of people. Sorry, I
just imagine them going with their pens and pencils.
The credits on this first page have on this cover are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people, which is many more names than these covers normally have.
Yeah.
It's written by Scott Snyder, Grant Morrison, who hasn't written a DC thing in a while, James Tynion IV, the aforementioned early in the show, Josh Williamson, with art by Howard Porter, Jimenez, what's his first name?
I've seen Jimenez on other things.
Jorge Jimenez. He did one of the other, or part of one of the other, I think he did part of Batman Lost.
Okay.
Doug Monkey, and a bunch of other people.
Michael Mendoza.
Yep. And basically this was a bunch of different kind of little things, or a couple different things. So it's the story of, we've got Detective Chimp, which we talked about last week.
Oh, that was the character. I forgot. That was the character from last week. Detective Chimp.
Which we got a fun,
origin story.
We got an origin story for Detective Chimp. Which was fun. Oh yeah, Swamp Thing shows up very briefly. Which was pretty tragic, but fun, because it explains why he's, Sherlock Holmes chimp, basically. And then he's in modern day helping, a bunch of characters who are basically a team in 52 again. It's a big callback to this group of mad scientists who lived on this island called Oolong Island in 52. And it's this specific group of characters, other than Detective Chimp. We've got Will Magnus, who's the creator of a team called the Metal Men, which is a bunch of robots. We got T.O. Morrow, who is who's the creator of this character, the Red Tornado.
Oh yeah, he's in this. He's the red robot guy.
Those two are kind of like the foremost authorities on AI in the DC universe.
Oh.
And they have a history. And then they're with characters like Egg Foo and Dr. Savannah, who's going to be the villain in the upcoming Shazam movie.
It's the bald guy with glasses?
A couple. He's in a couple panels in this. He's not a big deal, but yeah, those characters, the other couple random ones, it's more like an Easter egg than anything, but it's a fun callback to that series, specifically Egg Foo. Very fun. I just wanted to talk about this issue. I've already kind of jumped into it, but because there's just a lot of callback stuff to historical, to old DC stuff that I haven't seen in a while, and I felt like kind of just really quickly flipping through it and explaining some of that stuff.
Okay, you need to explain what the Ultima Thule is.
Okay.
Multiversal bleed? Tomorrow, question mark? What?
Uh-huh. Okay, so, first off, the bleed The bleed is an idea that came from Warren Ellis's Authority series, or the Wildstorm universe in general.
Jack Hawkstorm.
Jack Hawksmoor, yep.
Hawksmoor, sorry.
And Jenny Sparks, and those characters who were in a separate universe for a long time. That was, they were bought by DC and then integrated into the DC universe with the New 52. And in Grant Morrison's series Multiversity, he kind of introduced the idea that this idea from the Wildstorm universe, the bleed, which is actually in the DC universe, the space between dimensions, which is what it was in the Wildstorm universe. So he kind of brought that over from the Wildstorm stuff. And Grant Morrison, in a lot of his stuff where he deals with multiple universes, talks a lot about the idea of it's a very much a tie back to Crisis on Infinite Earths, the idea that the DC universes, the multiverse, is based around the idea of vibration, and that they're resonating at different vibrations. And Grant Morrison takes it a step further and makes it about sound and about music and about... So this ship, the Ultima Thule, is something from his series Multiversity. I don't remember if he used it before that or not, but I do know it's in that. And it's basically just a ship that uses sound. It has this big old harp thing in it that basically allows them to traverse the multiverse using sound. Yeah. So that's a callback to Multiversity.
Also, I saw in one of the scenes with Detective Chimp, he has a picture of the Multiversity cover.
Yep, that's Grant Morrison's multiverse map from Multiversity specifically, which has recently got a bunch of callbacks. It's on the cover. That map is on the cover for next week's Cave Carson Has a Cybernetic Eye / Swamp Thing special number 1. One of the Milk Wars tie-ins. Mouthful of a title. But and then the ship that the bad guys are in here, the Carrier, which has a baby universe in it, is the ship, or the type of ship at least, that the Authority uses in Warren Ellis's series. So there's a lot of Authority callbacks in this.
Okay. Should I read that sometime? Is that a big thing?
You very much should. That's one of the kind of, like... That's probably the book that set the tone for, like, the next 10 or 15 years of comics. It came out around 2000. And it was kind of the forebear of, like, the modern age of comic book storytelling in a lot of ways.
Interesting.
But, whenever this idea that they say the word door, and then this big glowy yellow square appears.
Yeah.
That is how the characters in Authority get around. Their ship, the Carrier, exists in the bleed, which is the space between universes, and anytime they want to go anywhere, they just say door. And wherever they are, because they have this connection back to their ship, this big yellow portal appears, and they just walk through it, and they go, and it brings them wherever they want to go.
I get it so much more now.
Yeah, so, and they make really cool use of that in this issue, in that, like, they're doing these action sequences that are going between these two different ships, and these characters are constantly just going door and going through it, and then they're, like, the fight continues on the other side, and it's really fun. I really love the door concept from Authority, and I like that they're integrating that a little bit more into this DC stuff. I don't really know ultimately what the takeaway from this issue was, other than it was fun. But, well,
the Flash, the Red Death.
Oh, yeah, that's
a pretty big fucking thing.
Yeah, so there's all these evil versions of Batman, that are attacking the DC universe in this series at large. And, one of them is kind of like a hybrid of Batman and the Flash, called the Red Death, and he is actually a merging of an evil version of Batman, and Barry Allen, the Flash, and they strip him of Bruce Wayne, of Batman, in this issue, and he becomes good and tries to help them and ultimately dies. But so that's a big thing. This panel here, do you remember the sequence towards the end where the Batman Who Laughs, the main evil Batman, has taken this bandaged up prisoner in chains, and he's like, he wants him to watch as they basically poison the multiverse.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. That character is probably, it could be someone else, but my guess is that character is
Detective Chimp.
That doesn't make sense. That character is probably a character called Nix Uotan, who is an invention of Grant Morrison. And basically, there's a race of beings called the Monitors. And if you started, I think you started Crisis on Infinite Earths, right?
No, I haven't. Samantha has been reading it.
Okay. Well, anyway, the Crisis on Infinite Earths introduces the idea of the Monitors and the Anti-Monitor. And the Monitors are basically these beings from outside the multiverse who maintain the state and the integrity of the multiverse.
They're like the Watchers in Marvel.
Kind of. But more, they're specifically about, like, the multiverse and about, like, safeguarding the existence of the multiverse and their structure. And this character, Nix Uotan, is the last we saw of him. He was the last of the Monitors.
Interesting.
It may or may not be him, but the idea that he has this captive character who is a historical Grant Morrison creation who he's forcing to basically watch the death of the multiverse, and who is very clearly that character is black, and you can see his skin is a little darker underneath the bandages, and he refers to his cosmic eyelids. He says, "I'll pull your cosmic eyelids off." So he's some sort of cosmic level character. So that's been a lot of people's guesses, is that's who that is.
Okay,
that's
interesting.
That's my guess as well. But yeah,
what's your take on the 53rd world?
That's right. So oh god, yeah. So there's this world that, like,
that's the main takeaway.
I don't know where the fuck that's gonna go. Is that going to be addressed in the next? It says to be continued in middle number 6, so I assume that's where we're gonna go from this.
Concluded. Yeah.
Like they introduce at the end, they talk about this 53rd universe, but there isn't a 53rd universe in this issue.
There is.
Also, they specifically there's a character at the end in this. See at this panel where Detective Chimp says, "Stubbs, what happened? Where is this?" Stubbs is a sidekick character to Nix Uotan. So he's like he's a monkey who's a pirate.
Looks like it.
I don't know why.
A pirate monkey. It's a pirate monkey. Just accept it.
I don't really know why he's a pirate monkey or why he's Nix Uotan's kind of sidekick. But anyways, he is specifically a reference to that character. But anyway, so they introduced this idea that the 53rd universe, which appears at the very end of this issue, is a universe where everyone is apes. Everyone is monkeys.
Yes. And they fixed this already. It's going to be the major, like, turning point. Like, this is who's going to save the day in metal.
I would be cool with that.
That's insane. Because, like, I've seen a lot of people, like, and it's a valid point. This entire issue, or this entire series has been like, the bad guys win, the bad guys win, the bad guys win, the bad guys win. Now, finally, in the 6th issue, in this tie-in, we get introduced to the people who are going to turn the tide, and they're fucking monkeys.
And they're all, like, monkey versions of existing DC heroes. So we
monkey
got, like,
Aquaman, monkey, I don't know, is that the tornado monkey?
So we got, obviously...
Monkey Batman.
And then
is that Monkey Man?
I think
Batmonkey Man?
Batmonkey.
Batmonkey! Sorry, that was terrible.
I don't know.
Batmonkey.
But this little, like, eye-looking monkey on the Aquaman, I assume, is supposed to be the Atom. I think he has a little Atom symbol on his head, which makes sense why he's small.
That is!
I don't
Monkey
know
Atom.
who this one in the background is supposed to be. He's got a big...
He's
is
huge.
he supposed to be the Red Tornado? He does have a big T on his
That's
stomach.
what I saw. I don't know.
I'm not sure. Either that or he's like Atom Smasher, which is a size-changing character who's kind of a spin-off of the Atom. Not sure.
Okay.
Not sure. But, yeah, there's a
And
giant
Stubbs,
gorilla.
of course.
And then we've got
Monkey.
Stubbs, who is here for some reason, for one panel. This was a very trippy, I mean, all of these, like, in-between side issues of Dark Knight's Metal, this and the Batman, or Batman Lost and Hawkman Found have all been very
But
trippy,
this has way
kind of
more plot
psychedelic
points than
thing.
those ones.
Yes, this one is a little bit more integrated into just the actual plot of Dark Knight's Metal, but
Like, I wish they
still
would have just...
weird and trippy.
I feel like the series would have been better if they just included this in some of the issues. You know what I mean?
Again, I'm willing to bet this will only tangentially affect the actual main series.
The monkeys have to affect it.
I bet the monkeys are going to be the thing that affects it, but honestly, like, at the end of the day, it could just... when you jump into Dark Knight's Metal number 6, and there's all these alternate universe monkeys, they've been dealing with alternate versions of all these characters. Basically, the explanation is, alternate universe monkey versions of ourselves are here. And, like, that's really all the explanation you need, because that series is already so bonkers. Like, but I just really appreciate it, because there's a very clear, at the very least, Grant Morrison kind of feel to this, regardless how much involvement he actually had in a lot of it. But he definitely had, like, influence over a lot. Like, this feels like the weird, trippy DC stuff that Morrison was doing for a while before he kind of fell off the map at DC. Yeah. I enjoyed this issue. It was fun.
I enjoyed it a lot. I think I'll probably read it again now that you've told me a little bit more about it. So, cool.
But, yeah,
I'm
you
excited.
should definitely read Authority at some point.
Honestly, this was probably one of my favorite, like, single issues of Metal in general.
It was
great.
It was fun. Yeah.
But because, like, Metal has had, like, great elements. I don't know if there's a single issue, though, that I think I've really loved.
Yeah, I really like all of Metal. I will admit, I'm enjoying it, but I'm starting to realize I don't think this is the mode of Scott Snyder that I really enjoy.
No, it's not.
I enjoy it. I think I prefer his more toned back stuff a little bit more. Which makes me a little bit wary of him taking over Justice League, especially how grand scale that seems to be going.
Yeah.
But also, this is kind of, in a lot of ways, his first foray into this kind of big, crazy, epic stuff, so maybe he'll have nailed it down a little bit more by then.
Yeah, and it's not like it's bad, it's just like...
No, it's not bad, it's still good, it's still better than most comics out there, but there's something really special and unique about his voice when he writes, like, Batman just solving a mystery or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Like, not specifically, I mean, like, Batman, I just mean, like, a little more toned back stuff. I'm starting to think I don't really appreciate his big bombastic stuff quite as much. Okay. But it's still good. So I'll take it.
Take it.
If he's having fun, I'm for it. Cool.
Cheerio. Do you want to do the we're going to move into our panel of the week.
We're doing that for cover and panel now?
Well, anything that has of the week, I think.
Oh, boy.
So, Doug, what's your panel of the week?
So we didn't talk about this at the in Doctor Strange, but my panel of the week was the best moment that happened in any comic this week, which was okay, so a few issues ago in Doctor Strange, was that the second issue.
The first issue they introduce him.
They introduce
and the second one,
introduce this Basset Hound character who can talk to Doctor Strange, named Bats. And in this issue after that, he dies. In this
Loki accidentally kills him.
Loki accidentally basically just stresses him out, and he's an old dog, and he has a heart attack. And it's so sad.
It's so terrible.
And they really, like, in just the span of that, like, one issue he existed, like, really made you, like that character. And then they killed him. And then Loki says at the end of this issue that he...
Well, Doctor Strange offers him as an offering to the World Tree, which might have to go into this, because
it definitely might.
Loki says... What?
Yeah, Loki says... I was about to say that. Yeah, so says basically that he's like... He says, I'm truly sorry about... no matter... Or your friend Bats, no matter the reason why that wasn't supposed to happen, he basically says he's like, he feels bad about it and he's been trying to find a way to make it better. And then the last page reveal is a big splash page of it's Doctor Strange, and he's looking at a floating blue ghost version of Bats. And he's continued from the dialogue panel on the last page. He says, "Congratulations, Doc." And then on this last page, he says, "You won," which is kind of like calling him out a little bit, but like I was hoping for this. Like they had to bring him back, right?
They had to.
They brought him into the series and then killed him immediately. And like his inclusion in the first place was so pointed that like it felt like he had to come back.
Yeah.
Or it was just like random that he just had this dog that then they gave a heart attack to. I really hope that this just becomes like, at least through Donny Cates' run, like a sidekick kind of character that, like, especially considering Zelma just left and Wong quit recently. Like, he doesn't really have someone to be like a soundboard for him.
Makes a lot of sense.
And if he has this like ghost dog partner in Bats, who's kind of in his own way, possibly like an intermediary character between him and kind of the mystical realm.
That'd be great.
Yeah, in a more kind of like the sense of like spirits and ghosts, which would be cool. I'm all for that, and I'm really excited about what this could mean for the series going forward. And I'm just so happy that Bats is back.
Bats is such a good boy.
He's a good boy.
Oh, yeah. That was a big thing. I was a big fan.
Yep.
Okay. Well, my panel of the week is. In Marvel 2-in-1, I just thought this moment was really funny. I love this character. I love this woman, this scientist that they go to help not Flash. Fucking Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm? The Human Torch.
Johnny Storm.
Okay. And then, sorry. What am I doing? Oh, I love this scientist. She's great.
Yeah. What's your panel, fun. Jack?
My panel is her showing Hydro Man the door. What is it? Sure, I'll run across these jokers again eventually. Anyways, front doors for good guests. You've been bad, so... And then she points at the toilet. And then my panel of the week is him going, "Water's water. At least I got my powers back."
Yeah.
As if
his
like,
voice
it gets smaller
fades
the
away, and he just turns into water and goes down the toilet. So it's that panel of him specifically going down the toilet and his voice fading away. Oh, it's so good.
I loved that.
Yeah.
I get the idea that this villain is not the biggest of villains.
No, he's
he's
sort of a joke. Like. He can be like a real threat at times, like, but he's kind of a joke. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and my other possible panel of the week was going to be the scientist is being questioned by Hydra Man saying, she trapped me here and she was gonna, hurt me or whatever. And then she's just like, sure, by grand plan to give you powers. And then my panel of the week was gonna be this thing where she uses her technologically advanced hand and then fight you. You're all morons.
Yeah.
I loved her.
Close runner-up for me for panel of the week, was, so they brought Hercules with them. In the Marvel Universe, there is basically Hercules. He's the son of Zeus. Hercules comes with them to introduce them to this scientist who can possibly give the Human Torch's powers back, or fix his powers. So they're fighting Hydra Man in her lab, and Hydra Man and Hercules are fighting, and Hercules, in a big old speech bubble, is trying to punch Hydra Man, who's just flying around, and he says, "Fight me as a solid, you vainglorious puddle." It's
oh my god.
Chip Zdarsky, like, I really like the balance of, like, again, we've talked about Chip Zdarsky's stuff writing stuff in the past for me hasn't necessarily always clicked because it's a little bit too jokey for me at times. Like, it's all humor, and I really like the balance of humor and story and dramatic content in this series, and it's really making his sense of humor work for me in a really. He has a really, really sharp, clever sense of humor that's very character based, and like lines like that are just, that's gold. Like, yeah, like that's just funny because it just sounds ridiculous. Like, fight me as a solid.
You've been glorious. Oh god, no, I love. This is a great series, and I love because at the end of this, they come up with a great aspect of their power, the Fantastic Four's power, also that you were telling me is not that, touched upon at all.
I don't think this has been a thing in the past. I could be wrong, but they introduced the idea that if the Fantastic Four are separated, like if any of them are dead, or which is the assumption that a lot of the characters are going off here, but then they're not. We as readers know that they're not. They actually are in another universe. Although the Thing thinks that's a lie. He's been telling Johnny that they're in another universe, even though he thinks they're dead. But anyway, regardless whether they're dead or in another universe, if they are separated, their powers apparently are linked to each other, and so it's not just Johnny Storm who's losing his powers, it's also Ben Grimm. So the Thing is also losing his powers, which brings up the thought, if the Thing loses his powers, is he not Rock anymore?
I think he must be.
Like, does he just become a person?
He must be.
I'm curious how that's gonna go. Like, is he gonna kind of want that? Because that's been a historical thing with the Thing, is he goes back and forth on, like, not being happy with. I mean, that was the original version of the character, was like he doesn't want to be the Thing, like he hates it because he's ugly and a monster. But then over the years, he's kind of come to accept it, and he's like, even in this series, like referred to himself as like he has come to accept and even kind of like his new form, which is good.
But I mean, this sense of wonder that you see on his face when he says, "Well, I'll be," like, that's got to be. Like, they specifically have a big panel for his face and just his reaction close up.
I mean, that's gotta be conflicting in him, Yeah. Especially considering they seem to be making a point of having him, like, seem to be comfortable with himself in this series. Like, this series is great. It's filling a void in terms of comics that I haven't had in a while, and that it's just really fun and funny, and has a really good, like, sense of character development and adventure at the same time. It's just a really well-balanced book, in a way that most books nowadays aren't. They tend to lean really hard into, they're either, this is the fun adventure book, or this is the really dark, dramatic book. And this book's really towing that line in a really refreshing way that not a lot of books nowadays do.
Yeah. Cool. The and also tell me about this. Sorry, I know we weren't going to get into specifics about this book, but it's good. Who's this guy at the end? Do you know?
Well, okay, we've got the Thinker, the mad thinker.
But he cuts his hair off, and is that a reveal on who he looks like, or
no? That's him. That's him making himself look like Reed Richards. He cuts his hair and dyes his hair to look like to have Reed Richards' hair.
That looks like see, that's what I need. I didn't know that looks like Reed Richards.
It's just I mean, he looks like a crazy madman version of Reed Richards, but the like salt and pepper like gray hair on the sides with the widow's peak, like that's with hair slicked back. That's okay. A very Reed Richards look. That's what Reed Richards' hair looks like.
So that's interesting.
And I mean, this character, the Thinker, is very upset at the void that that Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four has left not being around anymore, and he, in the end of this issue, apparently kind of wants to be Reed Richards. He cuts his hair, and he's going to apparently make a new Fantastic Four, he says, which I am really excited to see if the Mad Thinker is going to try to assemble, like, evil analogs of the Fantastic Four. Like, who's on that? Like, who would be, like, the kind of anti-versions of those characters?
I don't know.
I
have no idea.
I know. I'm just curious to see who it is. Like, I don't have a guess. But,
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, really awesome. I'm so glad we went on this. Yeah, like, this is so cool.
A gem.
I love it.
It's a real gem. Cool.
And out of nowhere, like, I've never heard of this. You've never talked about this writer, I don't think, to me at all. So
yeah, I have not.
Happy. And I'm happy that the art isn't terrible. You know, it's a little shitty.
Yeah, this issue had I don't know if this is a fill-in artist or if this is going to be the kind of alternating artist, I would assume. I hope anyway, because I don't like when books have too many different artists. But yeah, Valerio Shitty.
I
assume it's not pronounced shitty. Welcome to Shitty Walk.
Well, it's actually like Skitty or something. I'm
it's
just
probably
being a dickhole.
Skitty, Sheety. I have no idea.
Sheety. Sorry. Doug, don't make fun of people's names. Shame on you.
God.
That's very sheety of you.
You're the one who made fun of it in the first place. But yeah, oh God, that sound. Yeah, no, this series, the first two issues were by Jim Chung, and I was missing him this issue. The art was solid in this. It was good. I just really liked Jim Chung's art, and I was missing it a little bit. But yeah. We'll see.
I feel you. Okay, and Doug, I wanted to just ask you a quick question about Avengers. Tell me, is this guy that, you know, the guy that Rogue, demolishes?
Which guy was that? I'm trying to remember who that was.
I don't know his name, but she like puts her fist through his head, like, which is insane, by the way.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I think that's the guy in the Infinity War trailer that has this tool that he has that's getting the stone out of Vision's head.
And the guy, yeah, someone who has like a scepter-y kind of thing. Is it? It looks like this is Corvus Glaive. I think. Let me look at the handy little key they have at the front. Yeah, Corvus Glaive. It very well maybe. They've been putting in promotional materials that this group, the Black Order, who is Thanos's kind of sidekicks army.
They're related to Thanos.
Yes, they are, and they are going to, some version of that group is going to be in Infinity War. So it's very possible. It might be a good guess.
It's got like I know he has like a cape thing that he has on here in the thing. He has the same thing. It's gotta be him. So that's cool. That's something I know now.
Yeah. They're Thanos's kind of strike force. His henchmen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interessante. Okay, I'm excited. The also, I don't know, this series continues to be like fine. Yeah. You know, it's good. Yeah. I like it. And I'm really excited for, was it Janet or Hope that just returned?
Yeah, Janet Van Dyne, the original Wasp, came back.
Since Torch is theoretically gone, but probably not.
Yeah, we found out in this issue basically that like something is keeping the number of heroes in play, which makes sense that because they're using them as kind of obstacles in this grand cosmic contest that they're having, that they're considering the Earth heroes to be obstacles, and so they want a certain number of them in play, so when the Human Torch, quote, dies, we see that he hasn't in this issue. They've like trapped him, basically. Another hero who was frozen returns, and it's Janet Van Dyne, the original Wasp.
So we also know, though, that the frozen things aren't necessarily Voyager's, like, evil plan to, like, keep the people that would know her.
Again, they're really starting to make me think that Voyager's not evil.
That she's just along for the ride somehow.
Yeah. There's a reveal coming at some point, right?
Oh, especially with Hope Janet come back.
That she has been inserted into the past. Like, that can't just be the case now, right?
Well, no, Vision, remember, the thing I got excited about, Vision.
That's right, he didn't know her. So there is a reveal coming at some point.
Definitely.
From that. But
I would guess next issue.
But maybe she is benevolent. Maybe she's not evil.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she just wants to help, and this is like, and they're gonna call her out on like, hey, that's pretty fucked up. You inserted yourself into our history, but maybe she's not doing it for nefarious purposes, which would actually be kind of a cool take on that, because that's the obvious conclusion, is that she's somehow evil and is manipulating them, and she may still, but I almost find that more interesting.
It might be the Grandmaster's like, we should have someone like this on the team or something like that. I don't know, but like, or like they want it to be a part of their game somehow, but they haven't, had that. I don't know. Yeah, I'm really, really interested to see how they go with this, because they're just not saying anything about it. Like, they're hardly even featuring her in these books.
Oh, no, they've pretty much completely, that little thing in the last issue of the Vision not recognizing her is the only real, like, call out we've got to that idea in the last few issues.
Yeah.
So
I predict it blows up next issue, though. I think Janet is going to see her, and
we're definitely at least going to start seeing some momentum towards that reveal in the next issue.
Because what are we at now? We're at part 6. Damn, we're not even halfway there yet. We're almost halfway.
Where does it say that?
On the cover.
Part 6. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's great. I'm
granted, this is a 16-issue story, so we're not even halfway. So
that's what I literally just said.
Okay. Well.
Okay. In any case, we also have another Wolverine thing, which literally means nothing. He's in Peru.
Literally, it's just a slow zooming shot of him in Peru. He's in Peru, I guess.
Yeah.
They just
which, by the way, we didn't talk about the
post-credit
scenes in Black Panther, which we won't. But okay, cool.
They're fine.
They're there.
I mean, they're there. I like the first one. I don't really know why it's not part of the actual movie.
Yeah,
it seems pretty directly tied into it. But
second one's cool. Whatever.
Second one is fine. I don't really know what it adds.
It doesn't at all.
It just is kind of like, hey, remember Winter Soldier? He's still here.
Yeah. Which I don't even think we can consider that. That's not a spoiler. Like, I
mean, we're still in spoilers. But
not spoilers for that.
Whatever. Everyone knows he's there. They don't reveal anything in that.
They don't reveal literally anything.
Literally anything. He's just
if you saw Civil War, we're spoiling Civil War, I guess, Doug. Doug, we're spoiling Civil War. Damn it.
We spoiling the Civil War? Is it too early to spoil the Civil War, Jack?
The actual
you think
Civil
enough time has passed?
Doug,
oh my
stop
God.
it.
Wait, don't stop. Don't tell anyone who won. It was the Union.
Stop, Doug! Doug! Doug, a specific thing happens with a specific race of people.
Oh boy.
Okay, we're gonna stop. In any case, we have... Oh, do you want to do the one-sentence synopsis or not?
If you want to do it, I'll do it.
Okay, I'm doing it for you.
We're just running over a little bit. So
I know, I'm fine. I'm good. Are you good?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool.
What am I synopsizing?
You're synopsizing. You're synopsizing Paradiso. I'm just kidding. Guess what?
Here, give me 20 minutes to read this, and then
yeah, 2.5 hours. We're going for 3 hours today. No, we're not. Okay. You're gonna synopsize Dark Knight's Rising, The Wild Hunt. Do that.
Oh boy. Okay. So, okay, real quick. Okay, no, I'll do it. I'll do this first, but then I have another question about this issue. I asked you before the show, and you never answered me. This book is about Detective Chimp and this league of mad scientists are investigating the multiverse, and they I'm not actually entirely sure what their connection to this whole thing is. Anyways, and at the same time as they're investigating the multiverse, the Flash, Cyborg, Raven, and I guess it's those three are on the run from the Dark Knights, the evil Batman, and they are basically manipulated into putting their ship on a collision course with the kind of the heart of the multiverse or something. So they've been manipulated into spreading this evil across the multiverse. And then there's monkeys.
And then there's monkeys. I like that.
And then there's monkeys. I that was a very rambling synopsis.
That was definitely a run-on sentence.
I have no idea. Honestly, I don't know that I could give you a description of what happens in a normal issue of Metal, and these side issues are all way more trippy than those. So, yes. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, I can't ask for anything more.
Okay,
can't ask for anything more.
Real quick, I asked you in a text sometime this week, and was this team of, because I didn't read the Justice League kind of spin-off books to Dark Knight's Metal.
Oh no, I have no idea why they're in the Ultimate Thule. No, it was not set up. I've read a little bit about
regular issue of Dark Knight's Metal. I don't remember this happening.
It wasn't.
Why are Flash, Raven, and Cyborg in this ship in the multiverse on the run from the Dark Knights?
Last time we heard of the Flash, I'm pretty sure was with Superman at the Thing. And then he was with the Red Death for a while.
Oh, the Thing was in this? Where was the Human Torch?
Shut up. Okay. And the last I heard of Victor, Cyborg, was he was in the moon station and getting attacked by the murder machine in that tie-in. But I never heard of this team. Maybe it was set up in Bats Out of Hell somehow. I don't think so, though. But maybe that was one of the tie-ins that were actually not useless. Who knows?
Maybe it was something we missed. I don't know. I just don't remember that being set up at all, and it just kind of like, that was just where we started, and I was very confused. Anyways, like, whatever, you can roll with it, but anyway.
Whatever. Okay.
Yeah. So that was...
Do you want to ask about this Captain America thing? Because it is a weird direction.
Very briefly, I just want to ask what you think about Captain America. So Captain America kind of took a turning point at the end of the last issue, and now we're in kind of what seems to be a more long-running arc.
Yes.
The issues previously were pretty much one-offs in the first 3 issues, aside from the kind of twist at the end of the last issue. They were just kind of Captain America, just going around the U.S., like solving different, like he was fighting different supervillains in different cities. And this issue kind of starts what seems to be a long-running plot of he's been frozen again, reawakened in the future, that has been taken over by basically the rich.
Yes.
Basically, the rich have consolidated all of the power and resources and money, and they've left everyone else with nothing.
Well, after someone bombed the U.S., basically.
Yes, they basically bombed the U.S. and they've used that to consolidate power for themselves. And
I do really like the reveal of, well, how long do you think you're, like, he's talking about the Bill of Rights. We had this back in my day, and we had this. And then she's like, this is 2025. We all know what the Bill of Rights were.
Yeah, like, it's not that, but I mean, that's kind of in a way, the shocking reveal of, like, he was like, how many generations did this take? And they're like, dude, it's been, like, less than 10 years, which is kind of fucked up. But, yeah.
But I also been reading, like, I know that this is kind of a tired point, what Captain America does, where he wakes up in this future that's dystopian and he has to fight for the right again. I heard that's a tired trope in maybe not just Captain America,
people
but
trying to
things.
reintroduce the idea of Captain America as kind of a man out of time, of like him losing a bunch of time and then dealing with the scenario after that, is a thing that people have done before. I don't think that it's necessarily tired, as long as the story's good, but and
who knows? I mean, it's good. Like, I like it, and I like the art still. I like the writing still. I think it's good, but like, you know, it's just very different. And I think they're just giving us a whole new thing to be introduced to, and I think I'm just gonna have to see where it goes. You know, I'm gonna give it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I have very conflicting thoughts on it. And we don't need to talk too much about it, because I really think it's a wait and see kind of thing. Like, just I want to see where it goes. But like, in some ways, I feel like it's either abandoning its original premise, or it's finally getting to the premise now, or like, I don't know why we had these 3 very one-off issues, and then all of a sudden now we're in this. Like, it structurally feels very strange. It feels like though it makes those 3 first issues really throwaway in a way that I don't like.
I mean, they were one-offs though, like you said.
A one-off doesn't have to be throwaway. In the abandoning of using that as the structure of this series to all of a sudden now introduce this long-running plot, it makes them kind of trivial in a way that they didn't need to be. It makes it be like, oh, and now the real series is starting. And it's not... I mean... I don't necessarily dislike where this book is going. I think it could be cool, but... I don't know. I liked the structure of this series before, and this, to me, feels like it's trivializing it in a way. Okay, so I'm coming from the outside, so I think it's a different perspective on this. I think that, yes, they were one-off stories. Let's take for specifics the second issue, the one that was completely one-off, completely not having to do with him getting frozen, or, the first issue or anything. You know what I mean? That was the true one-off issue that we've had. And yes? They had, like, kind of subtle tie-ins at the end of the third one, implying that second one after the third one set up this whole thing. Yeah. Well, they kind of implied retroactively that, like, Kraven and the Swordsman were both hired to, like, that's why the Swordsman was coming after him. Oh, I didn't catch the Swordsman reference. That was the implication anyway. But okay. In any case, you got these issues. They were one-offs. Did you enjoy what you bought? I did. And I mean, ultimately, that's all that matters. I just like... You just wish that they would have followed that because you liked that formula. I'm conflicted on it because, yeah, like, I think both of these strategies are valid. It just feels weird to just jam them together like that. Like, it's weird. I understand. Like, I think it's the low number of them that they did. It's like they did 3 one-offs and then all of a sudden we're in this long thing. If they had done like 5 or 6 or 10 or something of those one-offs and then, all right, and now we're doing like a more long-running story, I feel like that would have been a little like less weird. Yes. Like, yes, it would have been like, and here's a refreshing change of pace, as opposed to, like, I feel like I barely got what I wanted out of the one-off structure that we were doing, Yeah. No, I completely feel it. I think it would have been better done if it was, like, 5 or 6 issues before they went into this. Because that would have been really, really cool, too. Like, it would have been trade, like, and it would have been more of a reveal, like, it would have been, like, because they introduced this idea of Rampart, this group that takes over America in the first issue. We had a kind of a one-off issue in the second issue, and then a one-off issue that kind of dovetailed back into the Rampart stuff in the third issue. And so it felt like it was just kind of treading water until we got to this Rampart stuff in a weird way, now that we've gotten here. And it just would have been really nice to have, like, here's a 6th issue, like, here's a trade. Here's a book of just one-off Captain America stories, and they're all really good and they're well told. Yeah. And then after that, they go into this kind of more longer running story. I don't know. It's just it wouldn't make more sense for a marketing. It would make more sense from a marketing perspective too, wouldn't it? To have like a whole volume. I don't know how they're gonna break this up into trade. Like if this is 3 issues, this story, then that still kind of works. But like, if this is like a 6-issue arc, how does that work? Is it just gonna is the trade just gonna stop in the middle? Is this gonna be an extra long trade that includes this and the first 3 issues? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't think you're looking for trivialized. I don't think it trivialized them. I think it was just weird.
It's just structurally kind of jarring.
Yes. Understand. Definitely.
Yep.
I think trivialized is not the best word for it because they are inherently one-offs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's probably not. But like, anyway. Also, just very quickly, this is a complete tangent, but just last before we kind of wrap up here.
Okay.
I have had a continuing issue with Marvel's printing for the last year or two.
What does that mean?
Like their printing quality, and I keep meaning to bring it up on the show, and I haven't had a moment to do it. But
what does printing quality mean? Like the paper they use?
I mean that literally every time it's specific books. And I don't exactly know what the pattern is. I don't know if it's the method of printing or if it's a different kind of paper or ink or what. But it's specifically every issue of Captain America. It's been every issue of the new Moon Knight series and specific other Marvel books. Every time I read them, I hold them. I hold the front cover and I hold the back cover. And when I finish the book and I close it, all the ink where my hand has been touching the front cover has rubbed off on my hand. And there are big old fingerprint smudges on it. And it doesn't happen to me with any other books. And it's really
any other publisher.
It's really frustrating. I'm just holding the book like normal. I'm not doing anything weird, but all the ink is just seeping out of the cover onto my hand. And it's a pattern that is consistent with specifically those books. Oh. It doesn't happen to me with Doctor Strange. It doesn't happen to me with anything at DC. It's just specific Marvel books. And I don't know what the pattern is, and it's really upsetting me because I like to collect these things, and I finish the issue and I close it, and I'm like, there's a big old fucking white finger, a bunch of fingerprints on my cover now. And I didn't do anything to do that, other than hold it, you know?
I did just notice the spine of mine is white and splotchy. I didn't notice. I mean,
that's just comics, but that they get roughed up on that spine. But mine has it's fingerprints. I can see my fingerprints all over it.
That's weird. I don't notice that, and on mine
maybe I just hold mine differently, but it's a pattern with specific books, so I don't think it's I think it is a specific issue with the printing somehow, and it's only at Marvel.
Weird. Okay. That's
Anyway, tangent. But
but hey, if other people have that problem, then who else is talking about this kind of dumb? It's not dumb. Sorry, but that's upsetting. That's too bad.
Yeah. Cool. So that's about it for the. That wasn't a spoiler, but that's it for a spoiler talk for the week. What do we got coming up next week?
Highlights.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. So next week we have Doctor Strange Damnation #1, which I'm pumped for.
Yeah, very excited.
Ice Cream Man #2, which I finally got their second printing of #1, so I read #1, and we'll talk about #2 and #1 probably next week. Mm-hmm. Infinity Countdown Prime #1, I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna skip it.
I might skip it. I think I have a pretty big week next week as well.
Because I'm not gonna. Yeah. I don't want any Infinity stuff until Infinity War. I want to read Infinity Gauntlet after that, and yeah, that's just what I'm gonna do.
Okay. What else?
And then what? Oh yeah, we got Justice League #39, so we're getting close to the end of Christopher Priest's thing. We have some things that I'm really excited for them to follow up on Justice League, because including Jessica Cruz, the Fan, Batman not being a part of the team, Cyborg leading it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's gonna be cool. Avengers #681, and which is also gonna be cool, and the Brave and the Bold Batman Wonder Woman #1. I'm gonna see what you think about it.
You're gonna wait on that one?
I'm gonna wait on that one.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna pick it up. We'll see. I don't know that I'm stoked for it or anything, but I'm curious enough to read it. I don't think
the art looks really cool.
Yeah, it's Liam Sharp.
Liam Sharp,
who did
and he's writing as well.
He did half of the art every other issue on Greg Rucka's recent Wonder Woman run, and it was really pretty, but he also didn't write it, so I will see what that's like.
I think this is his writing debut.
I think so. I'm not 100% on that, but I think this is his writing debut. Yeah. He's writing and doing the art. So
yeah. So I mean, it'll be interesting. He said he really liked the work that he did with Greg Rucka. So he said he wants to explore Irish Celtic gods, apparently, or something.
That's cool. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna wait for you to say if it's worth it.
Cool.
But in any case, that's gonna do it for this week. Doug, do you want to see the next sentence I'm gonna read?
Oh, God damn it. Delete those from the template, please.
Okay. It was not shorter than usual. In fact, we were much longer than usual.
We are over an hour. We're about an hour longer than usual.
Yeah. But next week, we'll be back to normal length, probably. And if you made it this far, thank you for listening. We are, we're still kind of new. We're kind of new, It's the first year of our podcast still. We're not at 52 yet. But if you made it this far, thank you. And biggest thing you can do for us is give the show a review or a star rating on iTunes. It's pretty easy. Doug's been saying on the new iOS, it's really easy. I have an Android, so I don't know. But it's pretty cool. It's fun. We release episodes on Sundays, so you can check back next week, or you can subscribe to the podcast feed and never think about it.
Mm-hmm. And you can do that. Subscribe to the feed on, I'm not going to read these, horrible joke titles that you wrote in. He wrote in, like, Tone in Overcoast Goggle Play Music.
Slitcher and iTunes.
I don't like Slitcher. I don't like that one.
Why?
I don't like the sound of it. It sounds bad.
Slitcher?
Slitcher. It's
what
got
a
bad mouthfeel. Is what it is.
Oh, okay.
iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Overcast, Google Play Music, although I do still like Goggle Play Music. So whatever podcast app you prefer, we've got you covered. In the meantime, before the next episode, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook under the handle @ComicsCovered. You can also find web archives of all our episodes at comicscovered.libsyn.com, libsyn.com, and on our YouTube channel. We also have video archives of our shows on Facebook as well, so check that out. If you want to get hold of us with question or feedback, send us a message on Facebook or Twitter, and maybe we'll get back to you. Thanks again.
Yeah, we've been pretty bad about that, though.
Yeah. Well,
so sorry if anyone's listening that has.
Well, there was nothing that would have been featured on the show. But yeah, that's gonna do it. So thanks again for listening. I am Dig Dug. I'm Dig Dug, right? The character from Dig Dug.
Is that Pokemon?
No, that's an old video game.
Oh.
Dig Dug.
Okay. So you're Doug, you're Dig Dug, I can be difficult from time to time, and this has been Comics Covered.
All right. Goodbye.
Cheerio.